Greetings, my name is Jerry Jones, and I'm a member of the Minnesota Astronomical Society, and I'm here today to introduce you to this. This is the Stillwater Public Library's Loaner Telescope that you can borrow. How cool is that? I want to give you some do's and some don'ts today, so I'm going to make a do sandwich for you. It's going to have 3 don'ts, and it's going to have a whole bunch of do's, and then we're going to be reminded of the 3 don'ts. So first of all, the first don't look at the sun with this. Just don't do it. Don't look at the sun. Don't even think about it. Don't look at the sun. You can ruin your vision in a heartbeat, so don't even think about it. Don't look at the sun. The second don't is don't take it apart. There really is, see, there's really nothing there. I mean, it's pretty open. There's nothing you can gain by taking it apart, so don't take it apart. The third don't is don't clean the eyepiece. It's going to get dirty. That's life. It'll get cleaned. Don't worry about it. Even a little bit of dirt on the eyepiece really isn't a big problem. So those are the 3 don'ts. Don't look at the sun, don't take it apart, and don't clean the eyepiece. Okay, that stuff is over. Now let's talk about all of the do's. The first do you need to recognize is because this baby is a little small, a little short, it's not like the tripods that you see sometimes with other telescopes, you need to find a table. It can be a tall table or a short table, whatever table, make sure it's sturdy, a picnic table. Those things will help you. So you want to put it on it and make certain that it'll work that way. So you do want to find a fairly good table. The second thing is you want to practice with this during the day. You want to learn how to use the finder and learn how to use the eyepiece. Learning how to use the finder, you turn the finder on right here with this knob, and then you look into it. You got to get your eye pretty close to that finder. And what you will see is you will see a red dot. And that red dot will be pointed on the same thing that your telescope is looking at. So, look through the window, look at something quite a ways away, put that red dot on it, and look into the eyepiece. And you can adjust it with these. This is how you adjust the focus. You find it again, look through the eyepiece, and there it is. That's how it should work. You want to do this quite a number of times. This gets a little bit more difficult in the night sky with it being darker. So look through the finder scope and then look through the eyepiece. That's really important to do during the course of the day. One of the other things you want to do is learn a little bit about this telescope. This telescope is what's called a Newtonian reflector. It has a 4.5-inch mirror, there's the mirror, and it shines the light up and down and into the eyepiece. So you want to understand a little bit about how this telescope works. It's an astronomical telescope, not a terrestrial telescope, which means that when you look at things on the ground through the eyepiece, they may be upside down or turned left to right, and that's just the way it works. Okay, so you've practiced a little bit. Now do take it outside. And the first thing you want to do is look at bright objects. Look at the moon. The moon is great. Bright objects, planets, bright stars. Learn and practice how to point the finder scope, that red dot on that, and look through the eyepiece. Another do is recognize that you do want to be able to change the magnification. And the way you change the magnification is by moving this barrel. Now the numbers signify the focal length of the eyepiece. How we change the magnification is the magnification gets higher as this number gets lower. So an 8 millimeter is going to be at more magnification than a 24 millimeter. So that's a pretty straightforward concept there. Another thing you want to do is once you've lined it up, you do want to try not to bump it, because if you bump it, of course, then you have to line it up again. If it seems a little too wobbly in this way, then you want to tighten this knob a little bit, and that will help. Another do is you can use this knob here to rotate the telescope a little bit, and that will help you make it all the more comfortable. If you're seated, then you could be a little bit lower, or if you're higher, if you're standing. So that's always a good thing, is make sure you're comfortable. You want to be comfortable when you use a telescope, because the more comfortable you are, the easier and more relaxed you will be when you look at something. And that comes to our next do. Do stare at what you're looking at. Don't just look at it for a couple of seconds and go off and look at something else. Stare at it for a very long time. The more you stare, the more you will see, especially looking at things like the moon or the planets, sometimes even double stars and certainly open clusters. The longer you look, the more you will see. So you really want to be able to do that. Now another do is you want to make sure you use the materials that are with the telescope. For example, here's a great thing to use. This is a moon map. How cool is this? On both sides. So this will give you an idea of what's there to look at, what are the names, all of that kind of stuff. This is probably another one of the most important things that's included with the telescope. This is called a planisphere. This tells you where the stars are at any given time during the night during the course of the year. And this is fairly straightforward and easy to use. Another great thing to have is this huge map. This map is a map of so many of the deep sky objects, as they're called. Things are like galaxies and open clusters and globular clusters and nebulae, those sorts of things. And you'll find so many of these on this chart, and then you'll be able to find them more easily. The last thing is this great book, which will give you so many more bits of information about what you can see with the telescope, which is absolutely fantastic. Possibly the most important do that I want to offer to you is share what you've learned, share what you're seeing, share what you're enjoying, and you will find that when you bring other people into it, it'll be just so much more enjoyable. So there you have it. There are the do's. Now, let's remind ourselves of those 3 don'ts. What's the first don't? Exactly. Do not look at the sun. What's the second don't? Yes, don't take it apart. What's the third don't? Right, don't clean the eyepiece. And with that, from one astronomer to the next, clear skies.